Hey everyone, and welcome to Outcast, where you are the outcast, but you are also not the outcast. My name is Levi, and we are glad to have you here today. Sit back, enjoy yourself, and take away something special from today's podcast. We plan to stick around. If you do, you can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. With that being said, enjoy today's podcast. Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Outcast. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. For today's podcast, I kind of thought we would do something a little bit different just because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't have something that was all written out. Normally, I'll have a whole list of kind of what we'll go through for the podcast and it'll be very detail oriented. It's not a script, it's just like talking points, and it kind of leads us into, for example, the last one I would go, and then this leads us into our next point. We don't really have something like that, but we do have a topic, just something I would say a little more fun. On the fun side, it's going to be funny. There's going to be a lot of memories. I'm hoping that I really just laugh to the point where I'm crying at whatever stories we bring up, but I'm not too sure if we will. I'm already beginning to laugh because I'm thinking about stories that are going on right now. But before we started, James wanted to show me something before the podcast, but I already pressed record, so I was like, okay, we got to get going. So I'm going to let James share it because I think it's actually really good for the podcast too. And I want him to explain it to me a little bit. So before we get started on today's topic, which is kind of transitioning from, I would say, kind of like young teen to adulthood. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, all right, James, let's see it.
Yeah, let me pull this up real quick. So it's a quote by Epictetus, some Greek dude. Anyways, it's "You become what you give your attention to." And I feel like that kind of relates to a general theme of this podcast, maybe figuring yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I interpret it, kind of like when we were in football and Coach Ringer would say, like, fly with the eagles, don't sit with the turkeys.
The pigeons.
Like, my translation of it is whatever you surround yourself with is what you're going to become.
Okay. I guess like I was confused because it says whatever you give your attention to. And I kind of get that in a sense, but I think it didn't I think what I was confused by is like, okay, if I'm going to give my attention to, let's just say video games, right? Let's just say I'm Ninja, right? And someone comes into a room and is like, oh, this guy is obsessed with video games. He's never going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I took it as whatever I'm interested in is what I'm going to become, but I don't think that's what that is.
Yeah.
Right? Is it just more like what
where you put your energy?
That makes sense. I think I really needed to hear that because I'm going to be honest, I have never been this stressed in my life and never been low energy. For you guys that don't know, I'm very high energy. I think a lot of my friends would agree. Like my parents always say when I was younger, and even in our teens, it was funny what we're going to talk about. I was always just extremely a high energy kid. My parents were like, you were the worst kid we ever had. We could never get a hold of you. You just run around and scream and yada, yada, yada. Back then, I mean, sure, that's kind of a fault, I guess you could say, as a kid, but like as you get older, it's nice to know I'm a high energy person, so it's kind of weird to not have energy. So seeing that quote was really good because I think I've been putting energy into the wrong things lately. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it must have took a lot of energy to grow out your raptor claw when you were little too.
Okay. I forgot I told you that story. Where did you see that quote? Like, how did you find it?
I was working out actually, and I
just scrolled
went
and saw
on
it.
Twitter and saw it. I was like, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. Yeah, no, I guess going off of like the energy thing, just because we'll introduce the podcast now, it's kind of weird to think about how when you're younger, not even like dating all the way to when you're a little kid, just like we said, the transition from, I would say, teen years into like being a young adult, you can kind of see all that stuff stand out during those time periods, even like during these time periods of, I would say, transition, because even now, like I said, even though I'm not feeling high energy right now, I also got done snowboarding today, so I'm a little tired, so sorry for that. I still feel like my mind races. Like I have like thousands of ideas all the time, so I would say it's kind of cool to see, like, as a teenager, like some of the things that we would go do because we have like the energy to go just do really stupid stuff. For example, you said putting your energy into things that really don't matter. What's something dumb that we would put our energy into when we were younger?
Just
dry ice
Even just-
bombs,
yeah.
something like
Finding
that.
Just random stuff to do.
Yeah, so I guess for you guys, and I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but when you're younger, and I think personally you're supposed to do this.
Yeah.
When you're young, it's kind of hard because I do have a friend in Houston who's 17 and puts his time and energy into, I would say, really insane stuff. His name's Caleb Canales. I don't know if Caleb's going to watch this, but go look him up on Instagram or add him on Snapchat. You'll literally see this guy's life. It's crazy. But some of the things that we put our energy into when you're younger is so different compared to what you start to put your energy into when you're older, because it gets so much more serious. And then this energy, like these tasks require a lot more energy because it requires a lot more thinking, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Like if I'm putting a lot of emotional energy into, for example, in the last podcast, we kind of talked about, man, what did we talk about? I can't even remember. It was just literally a week ago.
Yeah.
What did we talk about? Oh, it
Really?
was 20s and worrying about stuff. So if you put your energy into worrying, it's like, for example, career. If you're going to put energy into those things, you're really not going to have that energy to like really, I would say, prophesize what that photo is explaining. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sort of. You know what I'm saying? I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if you have all this energy as you get older still too, because it's going to stick with you, whatever you kind of put that into, like James said with the photo, is what you're going to kind of become. I don't know. I feel like I became kind of preachy there for a second. But I hope you guys get what I'm saying. I hope like some people that are our age and this kind of feel the same way. It's easier to put your energy as a young person into something like a dry ice bomb and then go stay up till 2 a.m. playing Minecraft and then wake up at 7 a.m. to go fishing. You know what I mean? Like, you keep running. You just keep going. Like, it doesn't phase you. But to me, it's mindless. But like now it's like strategic. It's making like the right decisions and making sure that you have everything in line, kind of, or like at least you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that? Like, what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I had to bring water this time. I was dying. But yeah, I don't know. It's just been kind of it's a weird transition for sure. And I don't know. It's weird. I guess I want more people to relate to this as much as they can, but I don't know if they can because, man, this is so hard. This is really tough because a lot of people I know in college that are my age, I feel like they still have energy like I did in high school. And I don't know if it's because, like, oh, school, we go and party, we kind of have fun, we do mindless activities, and then that's kind of it. And I'm not saying that that's wrong or anything. I don't think it is at all. Like, have fun, live your life, you know? It's what you're supposed to do in your 20s, make mistakes, have fun, do A, B, C, and D. But I kind of feel, where you guys might feel is you putting your energy into realistic things. Like, you really start thinking about, like, taxes, a job, a career path. Yeah. So maybe you graduated college and now you're at that point. It's just tough, and you can't really, like, no one's really to blame except you. But for me, it's like kind of building character. I don't know. Because James, I know, was mentioning, we talked about wishing that when we were younger, we put our energy into things like Caleb when we were younger.
I think, like, that feeling like you have less energy now stems from trying to juggle so many more responsibilities as you get older. Like 4 years ago when we were in high school, the last thing on my mind was like, oh, how am I going to make enough money to move out of my parents' house? How am I going to make enough money to do this? Like, I worked at Papa Murphy's making like $200 a week, and that was enough to like go out and do what we wanted to do because I didn't have responsibilities besides schoolwork and working 4 hours a week.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure some people, I don't know how old the audience is watching. I'm pretty sure they're around our age. But anyone that's older is like, yeah, they're growing up, I'm sure. I'm sure that's what they're thinking. Yeah. But it's just so weird, I guess. I don't know why it's so weird because I like having that fire. I like having that passion. And I just feel as you get older, it just kind of, I don't think it deteriorates. I also think it's a mindset too.
you'll hear me kind of fight against my own points on this podcast, I guess. Like I'll make a point and then I'll go, okay, well, but you know, if you really want something bad enough, like you just got to do it. You know, that's just how I am. And by the way, we have another mic because my dad wants to be in the next podcast. So we'll plan that out. Yeah, you guys are going to hear, I don't know, there's going to be a lot of like controversy within the conversation because we're going to be talking to someone that has almost no emotion. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, like you were saying, you don't, like the last thing that's on your mind is that, and I think it's more emotionally draining and mentally draining because it's real.
Yeah.
It's not putting ice in a bucket and then putting a lid on it and watching it blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
And I feel like that's like very specific in a way to our age group too, because I'll look at adults that my parents are friends with and I think right now we have no clue what we're going to do, but my parents' friends in their 50s have been working at their career for 20 plus years and they're like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now, and it's working out for them. So you have more energy to put towards other things instead of trying to figure out like what am I supposed to be doing primarily.
What do you mean? So like, what do you mean? Like they're saying
work wise.
Oh, they're saying like you're doing the right thing, like you, or no, are they like saying them?
Like they're set. So
they
feel like they have the energy to put it towards other things.
Because if you're not thinking about what to do, then you just do. Yeah. And it's easy. You just show up and go, okay, like this is it. Yeah. This is how this is what it is, you know. Can't really change that. So, and that's something that I try to tell my dad when he's going to be on this podcast is he knew from my age Groeschel was going to be that. And I'm not discrediting it. Like he's the hardest working guy I know. He would outwork me any day in certain areas because I just know a little more about certain things. James shaking his head like, hell yeah, he would. But so shoot, I was trying to tie it back to my dad. Oh yeah, energy. It had to do with energy. Sorry guys, I'm just a little tired today. So you know, I think it's easier like, okay, this is it. This is what I know I want to do. I don't have to really think about anything. But I don't know, he also raised me. That's a lot of energy, paying bills. Like, I mean, it still is a lot. I don't know, maybe we're just a weak generation. I don't know. I really don't know. I hate making excuses for why I feel this way, but just how I feel. Can't help it. Yeah. I don't know. Do you think it takes a lot of energy out of you? Because I had to talk with Zach today that I guess is kind of relevant to what we're talking about. But do you think that it takes a lot of energy out of you? Do you think like it adds to your exhaustion?
I think so, in a little bit.
Yeah. Because I don't think people realize how much... Because, I mean, have you ever cried a lot before and gone, dude, I cannot do anything for the rest of the day. I'm just like beat. Really?
I haven't cried in like forever.
Okay, well, if you haven't cried in forever, I've cried like multiple times. I cry so much. So I'm trying to think. So for example, like the day before I left to Texas, when I was driving, I went to go tell my grandpa something, and I went to say, hey, the reason and then as soon as I said that, I like literally started crying. And whenever I got in the car, just bawled my eyes out, dude, and I felt like I could take like the biggest slumber of my life. Just emotion. Yeah. So I just think emotions and just really putting your energy into like worry or
draining
thoughts is really draining. I don't think people understand that, you know, trying to come up with stuff and, you know, it's just not flowing right. And you're like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? I think it's draining. But yeah, because Zach kind of said something to me today about work and stuff. And like, I don't know. It's not really like I guess like I don't really have an opinion on it, I could say, but he was just mentioning to me how, like his life is just kind of work from picking a career, which you and I want. Yeah. Like, just picking a career. And he goes, this is it. This is my life. This is what I do. Like we have a friend who's our age and he picked a career. He's doing plumbing and he makes he's doing really well. Like plumbers make a good amount of money and he's doing really well. And he just was mentioning to me how, you know, this is it. Like this is where his life is going. This is, you know, he's getting beat up. Like his body takes like definitely a physical toll during the day. And he just kind of was telling me how this is life, really. This is it.
Yeah.
And to me, like, there's just something wrong with that. Something I'm not willing to accept about that, because I don't know, as I've just gotten older, and like when you start like having your hands on money, you start seeing like the real world from what it is. Because when you're a teenager, you have no concept of the real world unless you're like a 1 in a million. But I just feel why would I work my entire, I'm not saying don't work. I'm saying, why would I work for my entire life to save up, a retirement fund that I can't use till I'm 65? Because what am I going to do with $5 million when I'm 65?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, what life am I really living? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it needs to be traditional because it's a simpler life, but I don't know. I just think it's silly.
I could see for Zach, like, that could probably be true. He could know right now, like, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing for the next 20, 30 years, 40 years till I retire. But I think, like, the way we think is working now, but waiting for that next opportunity too.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like you notice with successful, say, business owners, entrepreneurs, like all of them pretty much same story, started from the like
bottom of the barrel.
Yep. And I don't think any of them ever planned like, hey, this is where I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
You just have to work your way up, take opportunity when it presents itself to you.
Yeah, and I guess that's really true. I think James has a good point to that, because I think this is just I would say it's more so whatever you believe in, the universe, Buddhism, Christianity. So for like me, it would be like everything that I take on now, and I'm not saying like, oh, every decision I make is the right decision and it's preparing me for the future. I'm just saying whatever my current situation is and whatever I have to do what I'm doing right now, it's just preparing me for that opportunity. And when the opportunity comes, it's going to be better than what I expected. Right? Is that kind of what you're saying? Because you're saying, like, for example, here's one thing. I'm working at Emerald City Smoothie right now. I'm talking to people. I'm working on my speaking skills. And someone noticed the other day how much better I've been able to talk to the camera and how much better my speech has been because of it. Even though I said 50 times in the last podcast. But to me, I've always talked about potentially doing public speaking. And so I guess for me, I look at that as, okay, well, what if one day I'm able to actually do public speaking, and all of that time that I spent, talking with customers, providing service, using my speaking skills, that I would say put me at an advantage for that opportunity. But I don't know. It's kind of hard, because I feel like opportunity does come, but I feel like it also doesn't. I think maybe it can start with an idea, which is an opportunity. I don't know.
It kind of makes, because I have a neighbor up the street that's probably mid-30s, so not much older than us, but they're like, it's different when they look at us, I guess, because I was talking to them, and this was a couple months ago, and I was like feeling stuck. Like, I know I don't want to do garage doors forever, but I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And me and him were just talking, and he brought up a point like, oh, by doing what you're doing now, you have this, and this that is going to set you apart from the average Joe and present opportunities to you down the line.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like whatever we're doing now, even if we feel like it's forever, it probably won't be, and whatever we're doing now is what we're supposed to be doing.
I think I get what you're saying. That makes sense. So for like anyone out there that's working a part-time job, and I'm not talking for you're going to school and working part-time, I mean, maybe like it could potentially help you, but I think for an example, let's just say like you're out of school. I know a lot of people who are out of school and don't even have like a job with that degree that they got. So let's just say you have a job right now, school or not, and you've been working at this job for maybe 1 to 2 years. Just know, just because like I believe God lines up everything for you. And so when the opportunity comes, and I'm trying to use a good example, so maybe you work at somewhere where like sales are pretty heavy, and you've been, you went to be a car salesman, you were selling for them, but then all of a sudden, one day, let's just say a salesman for, like, what are those big buildings? What do you call, what kind of real estate is that?
Commercial.
Yeah, commercial. Let's just say someone that's in commercial real estate goes, hey man, I own this firm. Like, you would be a great salesman for me. And you go in and all of a sudden, you're making huge profits on these buildings. Like, you're making a 10% on a $14 million building. You know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of like lines it up.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard because I feel sometimes you make your own opportunity and sometimes it comes to you. So I can't really say.
It's funny because I remember 2 years ago thinking to myself, because we're at grocery outlet at this point, and I was just thinking, is this really like what I'm gonna be doing? Like, am I gonna have to like work 40-hour weeks so I can afford to move out? And then, what do you know? A couple months later, I got a new job offer. And it's just like, you never know.
That's true. Dude, that's so funny. Grocery outlet.
It kept running through my mind. It's so stupid, but I would always think about like Kyle. Like, I'm gonna end up like that guy if I stay here.
Okay, dude, that's so stupid. I mean,
Jacob, or just because some of our coworkers were older, and I was like, do I want to like end up like working as a cashier the rest of my life?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. That is definitely, I would say, a very, what do you call that? It's just a degrading feeling.
Yeah.
I would say, because that job it doesn't go any further.
Yeah.
So you have these thoughts in your head like, oh, is it? Is this all I am? Like, is this all I ever amount up to? And that is, let me just tell you, you better get rid of that thinking right now. You better get rid of it, because like I have these thoughts sometimes. Like, there's no way, because I've already accomplished way more than that in my life already. And I've proven that to myself. Like, I know myself. You have to know your self-worth. I feel like that's part of being confident. Like, knowing you're not going to be at grocery outlet forever.
Yeah, because it's hard to fall into that thinking pattern at our age. I think for us and you guys too, it's easy to feel like you're stuck, and it's hard to get out of that mindset.
Dude, you got to do everything you can, because I think this is kind of like a make or break period. Because in your 20s, I heard people say like whatever mindset you kind of start to begin to formulate kind of sticks with you.
Yeah.
So it's a really dangerous path for some. For others, maybe not. So I guess like all I can say is like at least I'm grateful that I'm going through this right now, because some people don't go through it till after like college or after they graduate.
Yeah.
And they go like, what am I going to do? Like, is this it? Like I just got my degree and stuff. Because I remember Eric and I talking, and he was like, yeah, bro, I got some homies that graduated and they don't even know what they're doing. Like, they just don't understand. I don't know. I heard the other day someone was like, the whole time you're working for that, college paper, that degree, because we kind of look at it as like, oh, you're successful now. It was like, you were successful before you started that. Like, you got to claim that success before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't mean successful. It means that's a showing that you worked hard for what you got.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean, oh, you're successful now. Because now you have to go get a job. You have to make money. You have to, whatever your idea of success is. So if you're like young out there, just like whatever idea of success is in your mind, like just know that, like I said, whatever you believe in knows your heart best, and like those opportunities for whatever your heart wants are going to come, I think, right? Because like you wouldn't but if you don't have any desires to do anything, then I'm not trying to make this dark. Like, oh yeah, it sucks.
Oh, you could always have no desires and win the lottery.
Okay, what happens to like 90 or what is it? There's a huge percentage of people that win the lottery and then go straight into debt. And I'm like, how do you go straight into debt after winning $500 million? How do you spend that much? I would literally buy so many houses.
They would probably just buy, I don't know, cars.
Dude, how many cars do you have to buy?
Food.
Food? Food. Oh yeah.
vacations, things that aren't going to return their money.
Okay, but bro, those aren't even that. Bro, that's like a little like scratch at 500 million.
Yeah.
You'd have to buy 500 Bugattis to have spent all of that money.
There's people out there that probably do that. They want the Guinness World Record for most Bugattis that they own.
Okay. That was so... Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. It's just funny, like, looking back, because sometimes, like, I'll do reflection on how my life was when I was younger. And obviously, those weren't my best days. I'll never claim that. But there was definitely some good times. You know, like, you learn a lot, especially coming out of high school and into college. Like, I would say our senior summer.
Yeah.
Dude, our senior summer, just know there was a lot of times where James was just down bad.
Yeah.
I had no idea what to do, you know? Well,
Yeah.
You
So
were...
Levi was like, let me take it one step further. And so now he was down atrocious.
Oh, yeah, sure. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys can relate because, like, I know this is a very common thought because on Logan Paul Impulsive, they talked about, who's the guy who dated Lana Rhoades?
Is that the guy with the tattoos? No jumper? No, that's a...
Impulsive, the guy that has like the
I know who
short
you're
black
talking
hair.
about.
Yeah, he was just saying, you know, in your 20s, like you have these thoughts all the time, like, oh, I'm lost. What am I gonna do? And then he said, when you get to your 30s, you realize like none of that worrying like mattered. That's so hard to wrap my head around.
I think it does.
What? You think what?
Worrying in your 20s, where you're going to be at, I think a little bit.
Do you think it's
can
like
act
part
as
of
like
it?
a motivator. I think if you're successful when you're 30 like him,
Yeah.
it's easy to say
that.
Don't worry, it's going to work out.
Yeah.
You need something lighting that fire under you
Yeah,
to make it work.
That's true. That is true for someone to be like, yeah, you know, it worked out, but I don't know his story.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like, be careful who you listen to on the internet, for sure. Like, you can clearly hear James and I. We just are speaking from pure experience of what we've experienced so far. We do not claim, like, I'm literally sitting in my parents' house. So, I think that, you know, like, be careful who you listen to on the internet. We're literally sharing an experience and opinions. So, James made, like, a really good point. Do not listen to those on the internet. Because I can guarantee you I have not met someone my age that has literally made me go, yeah, they have it figured out.
Yeah.
They have it figured out. You know, even 30-year-olds like are getting clear to like close to that. No, like be careful who you listen to, because that was a good point. Because I heard that, I'm like, well, and I'm like, okay, but if I don't worry, then yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but I don't know. My uncle's also a good example.
Yeah.
So
It can work out for some people, I think.
yeah, I get that. Like not worrying, but it also says like worrying takes a year off your life.
Makes you hit your goals faster then.
I guess. I mean, it depends on like what your worry turns into, because if it turns into like stress and anxiety, like that's not good. That does not, like, that's preventing you. You know what I mean? It's not lighting that fire.
Yeah.
Like I think you're talking worried in terms of like because to me there's like a positive anxious and there's a negative anxious. Like a positive anxious is like, bro, like I can't wait to get this done. Like, bro, you ready to do this? You know what I mean? And then there's like that negative anxious where it's like, okay, what is going on? Like, and it's holding you back. I don't know. Because stress can really tire you out. Because I have TMJ right now. And I'm sleeping and I'm like biting the left side of my jaw super hard.
Yeah.
It makes like my eye and ear hurt.
Jeez. What are you dreaming about, gnawing on like beef jerky or something? You having a Popeye's biscuit in your sleep?
Nah, dude. I guess I got a lot of stressors for some reason. Yeah. I don't know. It's really hard. I guess it's not really, I'm not saying like my circumstances are hard. I said it's just hard. Like life is hard. And you need to like accept that. And it's funny because every stage I've gone through in my life, like for example, when I had TMJ back then, I thought, like looking back now, I'm like, dude, that was so nothing compared to what I'm experiencing now. And I looked at that, I'm like, man, I was so weak back then. But I know at this point I'm going to think like, damn, I was so weak back then.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. Just know like building characters it's so great. Like it's going to suck, but it's so great. I don't know. To me it is. Because like when my car blew up on me, I was so mad. I was so angry. But I don't know. You're going to make a lot of dumb mistakes in your 20s. 20s. And that, you know what? We should just bring up funny stories really quick. So I have a funny story, and it's about buying a car for all of the wrong reasons. I learned my lesson. Like, I bought a car because honestly, like, I think I was more obsessed with like the way people would look at my car rather than being satisfied, like just going, okay, I can get from point A to point B. And so I bought a car and it blew up on me as soon as I got it. And I remember going, okay, this sucks. And I remember I was so rageful about it, just so angry. And like looking back, I go, okay, well, I understand why that happened. I was trying to fuel my ego, and God was like, this is not how it works. Like, don't be an idiot. Make sure you're making the decision because your heart is right, not because, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to think, knowing you haven't really made dumb decisions as much as me. I feel like I make a lot of dumb decisions. I live and learn. Like, James lives and learn, but he does it from a distance. He learns.
I learned from Levi.
That's a wisdom. That's pure wisdom. You've heard that before, right? Where like people will go learn from other people's mistakes. Yeah. I'm a good example. But you guys, so if you've ever done anything dumb before, just know. And then like you thought it was a good idea, and then it panned out to not be a good idea. Just know like that's part of building character. In a sense, you need to be able to reflect and learn on those things so you don't make those mistakes again.
I remember I put speakers in the Corolla.
If you guys saw how angry this guy, he kicked his car wheel and the cover of it came
Not
off.
even that. Like a month after, we put those speakers in, and then the next week I put the back speakers in just because I was like, I want people to hear the bass in my car. And then the week after, the car got totaled.
Are you serious?
And I didn't get the speakers out. They didn't pay me back or anything. It was a week after I put them in.
Was it really?
Because the front ones was like 3 weeks before. And then I finally did the back ones, which took like 4 hours. And the next week, gone.
So I guess a very similar situation. So I guess it's weird because if your heart's not in the right area, I just kind of like look at something like boom, it'll be taken away like that. I don't know. There's lucky people in this world though that can get away with that, but you shouldn't be tempted by that. Especially if you're a good person.
Yeah.
If you're a good person at heart, then I think you're going to learn the hard way. Because if like your heart's not lining up with your decisions, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can either, get hit by a car or...
And then get your car stolen.
Yeah, James has not, had really
that was,
great...
the worst, 3-month period, because I was...
Down atrocious?
Lost the first one in June. And then, September, August was when it got stolen.
Yeah. Dude, that was... Oh, and then the battery went out in your new car.
Oh, yeah. I got the new car. The battery went out. And then we got the battery working, and the next week...
The alternator?
No, it was the stereo system wouldn't work.
Okay, well, I'm guessing a fuse just needed to be replaced. Okay, that's easy to fix. But
It took a week.
Really?
My dad's like, we have to tear it apart and check the wiring. So he tore everything apart, wiring going everywhere in my front seat. And then we hook it back up, it won't work. And then he pops the hood, he's like, oh, this fuse is blown.
Dude, why? Dude, I understand your dad's real a good guy for doing that, but I would have the first thing I would have done is pulled it up and then put it in the fuse and be
I think it was my neighbor that found it too, the one that's 30 years old, because he was down the street and he came over and was like, "Whoa, what are you guys doing?" And he's like, "Oh, this fuse is blown."
That's hilarious, dude. That is so funny. Yeah, I don't know, but you'll make a lot of dumb mistakes, especially growing up, because in high school you're making these dumb mistakes. It's not really a reality, but then you kind of start making those decisions in in your real life, and then you're like, okay, what the hell is this? I cannot make these decisions anymore. I know a lot of people are still living in high school.
Yeah.
It's funny because we know these people and we're just like, dude, how?
When I was in 7th grade, this is always stuck with me too, because I had Mr. Wong, and it was halfway through the school year. I don't know why it's just always stuck in my mind. He said something about if you live your peak years in high school and college, that's going to be like your peak.
Yeah.
But if you work now, put in the work now, and you'll be successful later on. Like, he told us a story about one of his classmates that got, like, she was just really nerdy, I guess, like really into schoolwork. People would like bully her and stuff. And their 25-year reunion comes around, and she's like the most successful out of all of them.
Yeah.
She didn't really care about how she looked to others or that kind of stuff when she was in high school. But
Yeah.
she put in her work.
Yeah. No, that's really good. That's really good. No, because I wish I would have been more like that in high school a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, I'm glad, like, I have that understanding now, you know? Like, I'm glad, like, we're not around, like, the same, I'm gonna be honest, the same friend group.
Yeah.
Like, I feel really blessed, to be honest, because I probably would have still been making the stupid decisions. Like, at least, like, I read books now. Like, I really, like, am into, like, bettering my life, you know? And I'm not, like, an easily influenced person. I'm pretty self-motivated. But at the same time, like, you can make decisions throughout high school and bring them into your adulthood. You got to learn.
Yeah.
You got to learn. Either the hard way or the easy way. Choice is yours. Sorry, that was so chatty. Yeah. Man, I wanted to, like, have another sip of water, and it was just gone. But yeah, so just know, like, you really got to learn a lot from mistakes, because just that transition's really tough. You're going to keep making the same you're going to try to make the decisions that you were making in high school, because that time period in your life is so just, it doesn't really matter kind of the decisions you make. I mean, it kind of does, but when you try to make those decisions, like, in real life, you know, like, for example, I could get away with buying a cool pair of shoes back then to, like, have people go, man, like, look at that dude's shoes. But as soon as I buy a car, okay, that doesn't work. That does not work. You cannot make that same, you know, choice, decision, whatever. So you got to be able to learn. You got to be pliable. So, didn't I like, kind of open my third eye right there a little bit, because I never really thought about that. Like, the decisions we made in high school. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I know a lot of people. There's gonna be a lot of people you're gonna have to cut off when you get older, for sure. Just know that too. Like, I always tell, like, who did I tell? Did I tell you? I said I'd rather be alone than like hanging around people that are not, like, a good influence on me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'd rather it be that way. I'd rather, like, learn and, you know, sit down and go, okay, this is where I need to. You know, this is where I need to, like, learn. This is where I need to pick up things I'm working on, you know. It's a time for growth. I don't know. Do you kind of feel that way? Like, would you rather be alone than hang out with, like, a bunch of losers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
That's how it was when you were in Texas, too.
Oh, you? Yeah, because I remember you said, like, a couple times, like, some people would hit up James. I remember he told me, he was like, yeah, bro, like, wanted to go hang out with them. He was just like, nah.
Really tempting, but yeah.
Yeah, that's good, bro. It's good that you didn't.
Yeah, avoid temptation.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that's why I think you need to get... Oh, one thing I will say is get uncomfortable when you get into your 20s, because I think that's really what helps you learn.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Like, I think just being uncomfortable, like, helps you to, like, break those bad habits.
Yeah.
I just had deja vu.
I think stop seeking validity from the wrong sources, too.
Yep.
Because I can tell a lot of people that I knew in high school are still seeking validity and just praise from the wrong people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. You know, like, oh, dude, someone that, like, learns and grows so fast, and, like, they've made a lot of, like, uncomfortable mistakes too, and they know, but, like, they keep going. Dude, Ezra. Gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just, like, I just look at him like he's just gonna be, like, successful.
He's one of those guys, too. I feel like I'm, like, strive to be more like this. But he's just, like, someone I see as, like, he doesn't care what you think.
Yeah.
And I think being that way makes him more likable. Like, I haven't met a person
Yeah.
that hates Ezra.
No, you don't meet a person that dislikes him, because I'm just gonna say this right now. I don't know how much time we've gone on, but I don't like to go super long. But anyway, so I have this friend named Ezra, and he's gonna do the podcast when he gets a chance. But Ezra, for example, and I just know because like I'm an observer, Ezra just wears like, he'll literally come to my house wearing Crocs, a hoodie, and some gym shorts. He's like, bro, you want to go out? And I'm like thinking, dude, dress like that, like, and he's just like, who cares? Like, I love that. Same thing with my dad.
Yeah.
Same thing with like my grandpa. Like I don't know. Like I need to be a lot more like that for sure. I think I'm kind of getting to that too. Like I don't clean my shoes anymore. Kind of like, oh, these shoes are getting messed up. Oh, shit, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's someone I definitely strive to be like in terms of that, because they don't care about what people think. And that's a hard habit to break. Especially if you're someone that cares for people, like you want to help people. So, yeah. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think got a lot out.
Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this podcast. I'm extremely tired. We just got done snowboarding. I think I mentioned I got done snowboarding. So today's podcast was a little different. I normally have like more of a setup on what we're going to talk about, but just kind of wanted to emphasize how drastic that change is, and just knowing that you really have to learn coming out of that period. And I'm glad like I did. And I really hope that you guys do too. Like, I really hope that you break some, patterns that, you had in high school into your adulthood, because you can't make those same decisions anymore being younger. You're entering the real world, so you got to make real world decisions. And that's pretty much it. For some reason, I thought we were going to talk about like funnier stories, but I think at the same time, there hasn't been a lot of funny stories in like the past like 2 or 3 years. It's just been more like, holy crap, this is not working. I need to make a change. So yeah, but that's going to do it for this podcast. I'll see you guys in the next one. And yeah, have a great one. Sorry, this is like different because I can't remember that I have an ending now. All right, we're out.
Really quick before you leave, I just wanted to say thank you for tuning in to today's episode on Outcast. If you liked today's episode, consider hitting that follow button. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and YouTube. Also, there's a donation link below to help support the podcast. Again, thank you, and I can't wait to have you for the next one.